Welcome to the justAd Academy. In this tutorial, we will be creating mini-games in the Ad Studio by using widgets and connecting them with each other. Before we go, we should take a moment to consider the major challenges we're facing when starting to create mini-games. Prior to building the ad in the studio, we should have envisioned and decided on a storyboard of the mini-game. Only then we can move on to animating the widgets in the studio accordingly. How the individual widgets are controlled in the Ad Studio will be the main focus of this tutorial. It should be only mentioned here that these widgets are open to Pro API coding, meaning they can be controlled to affect the game by us inserting a predefined JavaScript code. For that, don't miss the tutorial on Pro API, although we will zone in on the options to interconnect widgets on click. In fact, most of the time, games are brought into existence through linking widgets. So let's think of a couple of games we want to bring onto the screen. Here's our first mock-up game. We want to have, let's say, a beaver that we can move to bringing down some logs by throwing a ball on them, and when they get hit, the logs shall disappear. And after hitting the last one, a new page is supposed to open congratulating the user. Let's build a game in the format of an interstitial. We choose a background that fits the theme. Now let's add a beaver to the bottom of the page, and a suitable widget for that one is a drag that the user can move around by tapping and holding it. We click here to add a picture to it, and let's make it about this size. On its properties panel, we modify its drag direction and we want to move it only to the left and right. Then we place our 3 logs in the upper part of the canvas. Those logs serve as static walls, which we can select from the widgets panel. For now, we only need to take one, add a fitting image to it, resize it, and place it here. On the right panel, we arrange that on collision, the wall should carry out an animation. It shall disappear after 0.25 seconds. Next, we bring in a ball to hit the logs and to be thrown by the beaver. The simplest way to do that is to drag a drifter widget in, which is a visual that can bounce around on the screen. We choose this image for it, make it smaller, and move it here. On the properties panel, we set its initial direction and give it some speed. The drifter changes direction when hitting other items, such as our walls or the edges of the canvas. And to let the beaver act as a wall as well, we make sure that this function is activated over here. The game is almost complete. To open a new page after the last log disappeared, we install a counter, which progresses in response to the drifter hitting the logs. We make it count from 0 to 3, remove the autocount function, and let it on completion show page number 2. Now we just need to connect the counter with the log. On the walls properties panel, we add that on collision, the wall should be operated to change the counter. For on widget, we click counter and it shall change by 1. Only now it is time to duplicate the log on the canvas twice, knowing that the new ones will act the same way as the original, and rearrange them over the place. As a last step, let's write something cheerful in the next page. Make the text bold, change its font and its color. Over here, we can make it bigger and center it. Let's also place a log here. And bring in the beaver again. In the preview, we can now engage in our small game.